Hello, welcome to another episode of Burying the Sausage, a wedding podcast for the overwhelmed newlywed with me, Amy Taylor. I hope you're doing well. I'm so excited to bring you this episode. I mean, I'm excited about all the episodes, but I'm particularly excited about this one because I'm going to be introducing you to a content creator, a wedding content creator. And not everyone knows what one of these is. So this is a great episode if you don't know what one of those is. R is one of them. And it's also going to be great if you are on the fence about hiring a content creator for your wedding. Let me just say, get your bank card ready. You know, transfer those savings over, because I think at the end of this episode, you're going to be convinced that this is something that you need at your wedding. Anyway, before we get started, I just want to say, if you have listened to a previous episode, if you wouldn't mind rating this on Spotify, that would help me immensely. It means that more people can see the episode. I'd really appreciate it. So anyway, I'm going to stop talking and let us get on with this episode. I cannot wait to introduce Beth at Social Scenes to you. Hi Beth, how are you doing?
Hi lovely, I'm really good. How are you?
I'm really, really good. I'm so excited to speak to you today. I think I probably mentioned that I'd like you to come on quite a long time ago now. I think it's before the podcast was even a thing.
It wasn't even off the ground, but you were like, watch this space. And I was like, I'm watching, I'm ready.
So, you are a content creator, a wedding content creator, but you also do it for businesses as well, don't you? An event?
Everything.
Yeah,
Everything.
Amazing. So today I want to talk people through what you do. I'm going to get into why it's great to have a content creator, or why you should have a content creator at your wedding. And I was saying to you before we started the call, I have so many questions for you about your job. I'm going to be like that drunk auntie that comes up to you at a wedding, like, what are you doing? Like, what is it? Oh, and I'm going to be asking you all these questions. And that is part of the reason I started the podcast, is because I'm nosy. I want to know more.
Who isn't nosy? Who isn't nosy? And I feel like the drunk aunt, it's a reoccurring thing, or it's an uncle. So ask away, I'm down.
Well, you've trained for this moment then, haven't you? You've through your job.
I'm prepped.
Okay, so first of all, introduce yourself. What do you do? And just tell us, what is a wedding content creator?
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Beth. I'm based in Norfolk and I'm a wedding content creator. And I do both UK and destination weddings. I am essentially, as I like to say to my brides when I'm on the bridal calls, is that I am that uninvited but invited guest. I am the one that's behind the scenes. I'm very, very low key, and I'm sort of there to capture all the bits that are so easily missed on the day. That can be from like little moments between guests, moments between my couple, moments that are just, the day will literally go by in a flash, and people that are married will know this like firsthand. And I feel like people that aren't yet married hear it all the time, like, oh my God, like the day will go by so quick. And they're like, yeah. And then I always get to the evening and my couples are like, where's it gone? And like, my job is to work within their supplier team and to work with them on the day and just be low key, but be capturing the bits before they even know it's happened, so that the next day they can relive it all, they can watch it all, so that when they're busy doing things with maybe photos with their photographer, or they're talking to other guests, they can see what's happening and get to relive it all the very next day.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? I would have loved something like that at my wedding. So I got married 15 years ago. It was our 15th wedding anniversary in September. And
amazing.
I know 15 years ago, I don't think we had smartphones, and we certainly didn't have video. And I'm really sad because I do not have one single second of my wedding on video. Not even 1 second.
Breaks my heart.
I know. And it breaks my heart as well, because there's so much that, you know, I really wish that I could remember. It's about helping you to remember as well, isn't it? And it was such a long time ago. And we look at our photographs all the time. We like love our photographs, but what I would really have loved would have been to have some form of video at my wedding. So I always say to clients, if they're sitting down in my chair at the salon and we're talking and I'm asking, who's their videographer, who's their photographer, da, 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 da. If they say they don't have some kind of video, whether that be content creation or video, and they're thinking about it, I tell them this sob story, Beth. I tell them this sob story of me not having one single second of my own wedding on video or videoed on some form of device. And I'm like, if it's within your budget, mate, please have it. Please have it. Go for it. Sorry.
That is the good thing about having like the option of having both a videographer and a content creator now, that if people don't necessarily have the budget for a videographer, they have the option for a content creator. Or quite a few of my couples do tend to have both because they've put their budget in that area. And I think that's another thing, like it depends on the bride, well, the couple, to be honest, not just the bride, but the couple's priorities, where they want to spend the budget. And I feel like you say, 15 years ago you didn't have video, and now we've got it. I'm like, even if I go to a party, I was at a party at the weekend, I've got 4 videos on my phone. I was sober and I'm meant to be a content creator and I'm gutted, but I was too busy in the moment having a good time. And I'm thinking, well, who else was the content creator then? But it's the same at weddings. I think you want to be in the moment, you want to be living your best life, but you also just want to watch it back and relive it all the next day. Like you want to be able to, remember that, I forgot that even happened. And that's what it's about, reliving magic.
I think it's great to have those memories of, of other family members as well, and what they were doing. So, and you get to capture those other moments. But just leading back to what you said about being in the moment, I think that is probably one of the biggest advantages of having a content creator, is that you're not worried, especially if you are like Generation TikTok, you are not worried about taking photos or taking videos and doing all of that. You can live in the moment. Would you say that's one of the biggest benefits of having a wedding content creator?
I wrote a list on my laptop behind my phone right now, and the number one reason to have a content creator is being present, being phone free. I think when you get married, it's not something that's like a reoccurring event. It's an event that happens once. You've got your closest friends and family, and the last thing you want is for everyone to be on their phones like, oh, did anyone get that? Did anyone, oh, we've missed it. Or and I've made a TikTok on it before, but like, Auntie Lucy, who's meant to be taking the photos all day, might have 2 glasses of Prosecco and be like me and forget her phone in the toilet. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't leave the responsibility of other people. You when all your guests are there and they're in the moment and everyone's having a good time, the vibe just hits different. I've been at weddings where everybody doesn't care that I'm there and they still get their phones out, which is fine. You do you, boo. That's absolutely fine. But also go into the weddings where the couple have like said to everybody, put them away. Like we've got our team, put them away. And people are it's a different vibe. I can't explain it because everyone is just enjoying it in 4K quality, in the moment. And then they go, right, the next day we're going to see it all again anyway.
Yeah. I think it's a sickness of the modern world, isn't it? Is that we aren't as present as we should be. And and seeing things through a phone screen, like you're not going to remember things properly. And that leads me on to my next question, actually, Beth. Do you have any couples that ban phones, except for yours, obviously, for the whole day, or is it just at the ceremony?
Do you know what? I wouldn't say like they've banned it. However, there is usually a polite sign. It usually is mentioned at the beginning of the day with the ceremony, but then there is also like reminders with the DJ and at the wedding breakfast. Like sometimes, usually at the end of the father's speech, he'll be like, just to remind you all, we do have an incredible media team. They are capable of being it. But to be fair, once I think, depending on if they have phones at the ceremony or not, it tends to lead on from there, and people soon pick up like why you're there and what you're doing. And that's the great thing about me, because I'm not a videographer and I'm doing like sort of the long story because I'm capturing the little bits in between. I did a wedding in the summer, and I was working with 2 of my favorite people ever, and they were David Tim was one of them, and he was filming and taking photos, and him and Eloise were handling it absolutely fine. So I could go off. So I was off playing Jenga with the kids, and then one of the parents was like, "Oh, can you just grab a picture?" And that's the beauty of it. Like they don't need to worry about it, and they
Yeah.
can. And they're like, "What about my angles?" I'm like, "I've got you. 25 different
Yeah.
angles in 60 seconds.
Yeah.
No
And
problem."
that's a really good point, actually, Beth, about you saying that you're capturing those bits in between, because I didn't know when to kind of bring this subject in, but this is a subject we did want to talk about. And this is about sometimes the conflict that can arise between between photographers, videographers, and content creators. And for clients or to newlyweds listening, you may not know anything about this and you wouldn't know anything about this, but in recent times, because content creation it's in its infancy, essentially, isn't it? It's really in its early days. Sometimes some photographers, or should I say more videographers, they can see it as stepping on their toes, being a slight threat to them. Now, that's not to say all videographers feel like that, or photographers.
No.
But there are some. And Beth, what advice can you give to people that are considering a content creator to help that team work together smoothly and seamlessly? What does a client need to do? Do they need to do anything? Is anything their responsibility?
I feel like when you're the client, it's not really your responsibility, in my personal opinion. I feel like the only thing that is your responsibility is making sure you pick a person or people, suppliers that are the right fit for you. And I think you spoke about this previously with Liv and Ben, actually. But like, I think that really reigns true here, because when you're doing your research and you're looking for your content creator, you should be able to tell from their work and from who they've worked with if they're going to be the right vibe and fit for your day. Because as a supplier, I think it's our responsibility to be professional from the get-go. I think even if you've got personal supplier beef, which I don't think I really have any with anybody, to be honest. I think on the day you have to wipe the slate clean because you're there for the same reason. And I think that's the one thing from this whole topic that actually probably aggravates me the most, is that they've got to be in their bonnet. And I'm like, but that be in the bonnet needs to be separate from the day. You can't turn up to someone's wedding day and work against one another, when if you work as a team, it's a better process anyway. I'm very lucky that the people that I work with on wedding days, they've come up to me at the end and gone, "Do you know what, Beth, when I first got here I was a little bit nervous about you, and at the end of it we're doing a shot at the bar, we're having a great time, we're vibing on the dance floor." Like, and that's the way that it rolls like most of the time. But unfortunately, I think there is just a little bit of controversy, and I think it comes from lack of experience, if I'm being honest, in terms of experience working together. I think a lot of people see it and they're like, I don't really understand what it is. I don't really understand how they're going to not be in my way and things like that. And I think depending on the content creator as well can change that. I know that again, working with some videographers, they've come up to me and they've said, you know, there's been 2 people that I've worked with, Beth, you're the third, you're going to be my deciding vote, because there's been times where content creators haven't had the experience and they have gone about it the wrong way, and that can put like a bad taste in people's mouths. However, we shouldn't wipe everyone with the same brush. And I
No,
think it's
absolutely
down
not.
to research.
Yeah, I completely understand. And I think that you're completely right. Like, everyone does need to work together. And as you just rightly said, you're not getting necessarily the exact same shots that the photographer and videographer are. Like, maybe you will, they'll have set up a scene and you just get a quick behind the scenes of it. But overall, that's not your role, is it? You're behind the scenes. That's what it is.
That is it. And also, like, the good thing about me is that if suppliers want the content as well, I'm always getting snaps of who I'm working with anyway, so they can use it on their socials. So I will work with anyone. I'll work as a team with anybody. And I think that is the same with a lot of content creators. We want to go to the wedding and provide a service. And if we get to work with other suppliers that are great as well, it's creative fun. Like, when the photographer, the videographer, and the content creator are all buzzing, the ideas are mad. and you end up
Yeah.
having this incredible amount of content because everyone's just working together, bouncing off each other, and ideas come about that maybe others haven't seen, or others have been like, oh, I've seen that, have you thought about this as well? And that's when the good content comes out. And that's why when you're choosing your team and you're choosing your suppliers, you just have to do a bit of research into who's working well with each other. I guess it's not the couple's responsibility for you to get along, but it's the couple's responsibility to make sure that you're a fit for their day.
Beth, I want to ask you a few more questions about your job. So, first of all, I touched on this earlier on. We only met about 18 months ago. That's it. It's about 18 months ago, wasn't it? It was last summer, less than 18 months ago. And
Last
Beth,
August.
yeah, it was. And you have been so busy, but not only was that the first time we'd met, that was your first wedding, wasn't it?
It was.
And how did life lead you to that path? What led you to want to do wedding content creation?
I think for me, I've always been someone that is, like when you go out for friends with your food, like friends for food, and there's one person like taking a pic. It's me. That's me. I'm sorry. I love food, but I also love a good picture of my food. And also the same with like trips. And I'd already been in the wedding industry for about 3 years prior to that because I had a wedding and events business. So I knew I enjoyed the industry already.
Oh, wow.
And I initially saw on my TikTok an Australian lady doing wedding content creation. And I was like, hold the phone. That's a bit of me. Like I am always taking, my personal Instagram is just travel videos. Like I think I'm Zoella. Like I'm content creating away on my own personal Instagram to like my 100 followers, but I've always loved it, and I saw it trending in Australia first because it always seems to kick off in Australia before it kicks off here. And I gave it a couple of months. But yeah, wedding trends are always over there first.
I
Always.
didn't know this. I would have assumed America.
No.
But is that the origin story for wedding content creation? Is that where it started? Do you know?
I'm 99% sure it was Australia, and then it picked up in America, and then we were sort of like the last ones, as always, to like then pick it up and run with it. However, I would say from starting like 18 months ago to now, the difference in how many content creators are in Norfolk is madness. Because
Yeah,
I
there are
think it was like
loads.
there's loads now. There's loads of us, which I'm happy for. Like, I'm really glad that other people are getting on board and getting into the industry because it is such an incredible job. And it's becoming more of a thing, which makes me happy because at the beginning there was a lot of like, oh, who is she? What is it? I don't really get it. But now it's much more talked about and everyone's like, yeah, have you got one or not? And it's becoming more like common, which is nice and a bit more spoken about. But yeah, I just sort of saw it come up on my TikTok. I followed it for a couple of months, and I was in Bali actually at the time. And I was like, when I get back from this trip, I'm going to do it. So I had 5 brides that I was doing wedding bits for, wedding props and things like that. And I messaged him and I said, I've got this idea. I don't know if it's going to work, but can I just come along for the day? This is what I want to do. I don't want to charge anything. I just want to come for the experience. And then that's where we met. The first one was Hayley and Matt's wedding back in August last year. And if I'm
Yeah.
being honest, it's just taken off, which I'm
You're
incredibly
so
grateful for.
busy. You are so busy, honestly. And I know this sounds really really cringy, but honestly, I'm so happy for you, Beth. You're obviously doing so well. I love to see other women doing well in business, and it's been absolutely fantastic. Every time I look at your Instagram, there's something new. And you said you've been abroad as well. You've done destination.
So yeah, a shout out if you're not already. If you need to get on TikTok, like if you're not on it, get on it. So I have been approached. Well, I was approached in, I think it was July, maybe August, by two brides. So this year, in my first year, I've been very lucky to have been flown to both Rhodes and France for two
Wow.
destination weddings. And then
Yes.
off the back of those, I've now got inquiries again for a different Greece island, Cyprus, and I think another Spain one as well, which is really exciting. Which, like destination weddings were on the bucket list for like 2025, and the fact that I
Yeah.
got to tick them off this year blows my brains. Like,
Yeah.
grateful doesn't cover it. Going back a little bit to what you were saying before about being like an individual business, you are your business at the end of the day. And I
Mm.
think when clients, like our clients, they say, are looking for either like someone to do hair or someone to do the content, like, you are your own brand, and when you love it, it protrudes and it comes through, and people know that you're good at your job because you love your job and you've
Mm.
researched it and you do everything you can. I drive to a wedding with a bit of drum and bass on, a little bit of like house music on. I'm vibe on the way back. It's silence.
Yeah, I'm overstimulated. I've had 5 cups of coffee. I've just had
Two Red
people
Bulls.
not noise around me for the whole time. I just need quietness. But Beth, let me give you a tip. If you don't know this already, one thing that changed something for me on a wedding morning in terms of energy levels, and by the way, anybody that's getting married, this applies to you as well who's listening. The rehydration tabs, like the electrolytes. Honestly, Beth, and anyone listening, you need to get yourself some of those electrolyte tablets. Because I used to get what I described as a wedding hangover when I got home. And the reason for that, Beth, is because I was dehydrated. It's because I don't shut up for 7 hours.
Yeah, me and you are gassy, aren't we? We love a yap. We yap and chat and we
Oh,
work away.
I do
I
love it.
I need an emergency pack
Mm-hmm.
of them,
You do. You
because
do.
when you are giving high energy and when you are bringing you're bringing your A game on a wedding day, and when like
Mm.
this weekend I've got 2 back-to-back weddings, I'm stocking up.
Yeah,
I'm like, I need everything stocked up. I need my tablets, my hydration tablets.
you
I need a Red
do.
Bull, and I need a coffee en route, because I know it's going to be a day and a half. But like,
Yeah.
it sounds like we're moaning in a way, but we're not. It's just, it's you want to be your best self.
So, Beth, you were saying earlier on that you were in events before you became a content creator. Was it in wedding
Yes.
events?
Yes.
What did you do?
I had a wedding, like pop and hire business, but it wasn't just weddings, it was like a general events business. So I'd have like sequin walls, love letters, sweet carts, centerpieces,
Mhm.
signage, and I'd go around and sort of do that for people's wedding days, events and things like
Cool.
that. So I was already like in the loop of weddings, but not
Yeah,
not to an epic event kind of standard, because they're top
yeah.
level. But like, I was just sort of doing it from the age of like, I think I started my events business when I was 19.
Wow. Oh my
um
goodness, you're so industrious. I love it.
just love being my own boss. What can I
Yeah.
say? No,
So what I
honestly.
was going to say about that is that that's a really advantageous place to start from, because I feel like to be a content creator or a photographer or a videographer, you do need a certain knowledge of how events run, how the days run, because otherwise you are not going to be in the right place at the right time necessarily, are you? And I think that is why it's also worth, depending on your budget, hiring a more experienced content creator. Because as you say, you're not just a girl with a phone. Like, you have a big responsibility. Would you agree?
I would 100% agree. And I think, just adding to that, when you do have someone more experienced, they're already thinking ahead for you. You're sort of like in that, like, I always call myself a bridal bestie or like a PA, because
Yes.
they're in here and I'm going, have you done this? And they're like, no. And I'm like, fine, I'll sort it. And I'll also get the content. And they're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
great. It's like, yeah, you are effectively putting more money into it. But when you are paying a little bit more, you are paying for experience. You're
Mm.
paying for a smoother experience and a well-oiled train sort of thing. Like,
Yeah.
the whole day's different, I think. And that's not me being rude
Agree.
to other content creators, because everybody starts somewhere. I'm
Mhm. Of
completely
course.
different to where I started
Yeah.
in August, and it comes through experience. But yeah, and I think that's where as well toes get trod on
Yeah,
when
yes.
you don't
And
have
this is
the
why
experience.
you need the experience, don't you? This is why like it is needed. And
Yeah.
you know, I would say that also about the hair and makeup team as well. Like we are always, you know, I mean you've seen it for yourself. We are the team, you know, we're drying the flowers. I'm barking at brides, telling them to get their bloody dress on.
Yeah, but and it all comes from a good place though, because
Yeah, yeah,
we know how quickly the morning is going. We
yeah.
know what the crack is. And I do so many TikToks at the minute, like talking to people on TikTok about like tips to give your bridesmaids and things. But you know, I've been to weddings where the bridesmaids nowhere to be seen. I've been at weddings where they're
Oh,
there every second. And
oh, Beth, don't. Honestly, I feel like I want to do an episode on how to pick your bridesmaids.
me
Um,
too.
I have
So much
seen
to talk
some
about.
shocking behaviour, and by shocking behaviour, I don't mean party wild behaviour. I just mean neglectful behaviour. Choose your
Yeah.
most considerate team. I feel like, and especially as women, we are quite considerate. We try to think about everything going on around us as well.
No,
So,
100%.
yeah, yeah, I would say
100%.
choose your team carefully.
And also within that, like, if you know that you've got a busy morning or you've got a big bridal party or you know you've got a lot on, be organised, but not to an extent where it's an army cadet. Do you know what I mean? I've been to weddings before where it's been like silence
Mm,
and there's tension and it's thick, and I'm like, we need to break this up. We are
yeah,
getting married. We are
yeah,
here to hype our bride. We want our
yeah.
bride to have a good time, and that's another part of my job which I love so much. And sometimes, like, I'm really really lucky that photographers do get little behind the scenes bits of me, either like doing the back of dresses up or fluffing the veil
Mm,
or fanning them down because they're hot. They're
yeah,
all parts of the day that are so key,
yeah,
and they make the job so good because you go
yeah.
away with that good feeling that you've done your job and you're helping them out. It's
100%.
special. We
Yeah,
are
it
so lucky
is.
to have such good jobs.
Yeah, 100%. So, Beth, we've been talking about how to stay more present on your wedding day, and that is no easy thing to do. But
Mm-mm.
something that I hear members of the media team advising clients is trying to carve out time for the couple on the day. So, for
Yeah.
example, them just going away for 10 minutes, just having 10 minutes to ground themselves and, kind of really take in the day. Have you found more people doing that? And do you think that is a good thing for a couple to try and do?
I would say yes. I think when you're on the wedding day, dependent on the couple themselves, because this is different for different couples, but I've been
Mm.
to some weddings where they've been apart the entire day because
That's
they're
how
being
I felt at
dragged,
my wedding.
because you're being dragged away by all these people. Whereas I feel like eventually one day, if I ever do have the chance to be married, I would definitely say, like, let people come to us. That would be something that I would say, instead of going to people and being like, I've not spoken to these people yet, or I've not done this yet. Let people come to you, like, and stay together. One of my lovely, lovely, lovely couples, Frankie, who's bewildery, I was really lucky to attend her wedding. And her partner Sam were like glue the whole
Mhm.
day. And it was
Mhm.
amazing because throughout the day, they would go and take themselves off for 10 minutes. Like, they'd be like, you know what?
Mhm.
Shall we just grab a drink together and step outside for 10 minutes? And
Yeah.
they would do that. And all day they were together and present. They were still involved in their guests. They were still having a really good time, but they just took that time to spend together. Something that is a little bit like controversial is like a lot of weddings, you get ready separate. I
Mhm.
would love to get ready with my partner in the morning.
Oh, well, I did that. I actually did that on my wedding
Did
day,
you?
but yeah, but only because it was such a low key wedding. Because I got married so long ago, it was a very low budget wedding. We we didn't have the budget for us to get ready in other places, so we got ready together on the morning. And then my husband went off with his best woman. He had a best woman, and they
Love
went
it.
and had Guinness. And then we saw each other at the registry office. So we actually did spend that part of the morning together. And you know what, Beth, I'm so glad we did, because what you've just said is so important. And I've never thought about it like that before. And I really hope somebody listening is going to be like, wow, that is an amazing idea. And that it's going to influence them to essentially, I wouldn't say not leave their partner's side, but make a conscious effort to spend more time with them. Because on my wedding day, me and my husband, I mean, honestly, it's not an exaggeration for me to say, I feel like I hardly saw my husband on my wedding day.
Because everyone's being dragged. Everyone wants your attention all the time.
They do. I heard on another podcast that they described the couple not as hosts, but as special guests.
Yeah.
They are the special guests. And therefore, everyone else needs to be attending to their needs. Or the bridesmaids need to be attending to their needs, because that is the name maid suggests something, that you need to be attentive. So I absolutely loved that tip, Beth. It was amazing. And I really hope anybody listening takes it on board. Okay, Beth, this is another one of my nosy questions. So, because content creation is so new, what is the average age of your clients?
Oh, do you know what? I'd say early 30s.
Would you? When I was guessing, I was like, oh, maybe it'll be somewhere between 25 and 30, but a little tiny bit older than that.
Yeah, I would say like 30s, mid 30s. Sometimes even older than that, but it's definitely like the 30 region. I think I have less younger brides than I do older. And then I've only had, I think, 1 or 2 weddings where they've been sort of over like the 40 bracket. I've got a couple of older weddings next year, which I'm gassed for. Because no one parties like that. Nobody parties like that age bracket. I just want to say it. But yeah, no, I would say mid 30s, early 30s. But I don't actually ask, because I feel like if I asked, I'd probably get like punched.
No, well, I mean, it's not relevant for you, but yeah, the reason that I was just being nosy, I was like, who are the people? Like, who are the people that are booking content creation? And that's really interesting. So I would say that's like the millennial generation. In my mind, I'm like, oh, this is a Gen Z thing. This is a Gen Z. But in truth, it's probably not, is it, at the moment?
I don't think so. I think it's because like a lot of my brides, when they contact me, they're like, we love your work in terms of like, we love watching it back. Like we love the storytelling of it. And I was actually going to say, is it because you had the impression that having a content creator was for social media only? And that's where the Gen Z comes in?
Yes, it could be that. So I think that's do you get people maybe inquiring with you, or again, maybe speaking to you at weddings, just coming up to you and they're like, so what are you doing? Like, is this for TikTok? Do people ask that?
Yeah. And they're like, so do you just post it online then? Is that like what this is? And I'm like, no. The whole purpose is that you get to relive it all the next day. So like my clients will receive an entire Dropbox folder full. Videos, mainly videos, the odd photos if I'm being pulled by guests and things like that, but majority of videos. And my couple can just have a link and they can go to their guests, here it is, take what you want. And it means that, the brides that just want to share it with family that might not be able to come, or friends that can't come, or they want to just have it to look back on anniversaries. Or I do have other brides that are like down with the TikTok and their videos are going viral. And I'm like, tell me how you're doing it, because I can't do it.
Oh, that's great.
So I love think that. It's dependent, but I think there is a really big misconception. Not a misconception maybe, but I think, again, doing your research and seeing what type of content creator you're hiring, because I know that different content creators have different styles of editing, of the content. Like I know that some photographers have worked with content creators that spend the entire wedding morning filming TikTok trends. Personally, not something for me. But if my bride asks me to, then I will. So it's
Yeah.
dependent on the bride and what they want. But I think different content creators do different things. Like hairstylists,
Yeah.
different hairstylists have different niches, don't they? So I
Yeah,
think it's just
100%.
down to the research and
Yeah.
knowing who you're booking and what for, etc.
Yeah, 100%. That was so eye-opening for me because even I fell into that trap of thinking it was just for young people, which is why I asked about the age question, and also that it was just for social media. So I love your answer. Okay, one last question, Beth.
Here we go.
What do you think the future of content creation is in the wedding industry?
That is such a good question. As a whole, or for me personally, like
As a whole, I think as a whole,
I feel like this is just the beginning for
yes.
content creation. I feel like we are at the bottom of the mountain. We've not reached the top yet. I think iPhones are better and better each time they come out. There are new things you can do, and it sounds silly because most people have an iPhone. Not everybody, but most people do have an iPhone. And I think at the moment people are just like, what are you doing? But when you get your settings down and you know how to use it in good lighting and you know how to use it to the best of its capability, it is incredible what you can do with an iPhone. And I
It
think
really is.
that
I
we're
love
just
what
on
you
the
do, Beth. When I see what you do, there's something that has a real cinematic quality about it when you put those kind of clips on the internet. And I often just cannot believe that what you've filmed on is an iPhone. It looks so amazing. You've got such an artistic eye. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
I mean, I think you're right. I do think we are just at the beginning of this.
We're starting small. We're just at the beginning. This is a very, very, very new addition to weddings.
Yeah,
And just watch the space. That's all I'm going to say.
amazing. Great. Well, ending on that note, I decided to ask Google what a wedding content creator was. And you know, when you ask Google a question, it comes up with a series of other questions underneath that people have asked.
Yeah.
Well, somebody asked the question. This is not me, by the way. They asked, is a wedding content creator worth it? And the answer that it gave was, given that social content creators always shoot on iPhone, it is unlikely they will replace a professional photographer or videographer. But that is not to say that they don't have their own USP, which makes them worth considering adding it to your supply list.
Nailed it.
Yeah, well done, Google. And I thought that was perfect.
And that is perfect. That is it to a T.
Yeah. Okay, Beth, thank you so much. I mean, we could talk for another hour.
Easily.
It's been such a joy speaking to you. I feel like I have learned so much about the content creation world. So as we record this, we're in October 2024. Do you have any space left for 2025, or are you just 26 now?
I do, because I have a team.
Oh, you do. Amazing. So if anybody wants to inquire into your services, where can they find you?
They can find us at www.social-scenes.co.uk. Check out our weddings page, have a little look on there, and there'll be a little form at the bottom, and you'll receive all of our packages and pricing. Or feel free to drop us a DM on Instagram and let us know that you listen to the podcast, and maybe we can do a cheeky discount for them 2025, 2026 brides if they've listened.
Oh, okay, Beth. This is a Burying the Sausage exclusive. I'm very excited for this. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. I can't wait to see you at another wedding soon. And yeah, hopefully see you in 2025. See you later.
See you then, lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Burying the Sausage. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Make sure you go and follow Beth. Make sure you check out her work. You'll be able to see the links in the show notes. And all that leaves me to say is thanks so much for listening. Please rate and subscribe on Spotify. Would greatly appreciate that. The episode was written and produced by me, Amy Taylor, with the music by Paul Finley.